Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jade Alberts from Calgary, Alberta. I'm a small business strategist, influencer, and brand builder. My passion is helping small businesses grow and succeed. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started to Telling It Like It Is Facebook Live. It is live, so if you do have any questions for myself or Ken today, please ask them. If you are watching this after the fact on LinkedIn or Facebook or some other social media platform, do not hesitate to ask a question. We will get back to you. I'd like to thank Healthy Heart Sleep Company, Calgary's premier sleep apnea CPAP company. They are locally owned and have 2 locations in Calgary. Please support local. We always try and promote local, so please support it. Today's guest is Ken Goldstein of the Goldstein Group. Ken, thank you for joining me today, and how are you?
I'm great, Jay. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I know we were kind of talking a little bit before, so you just got back from a nice vacation, so I'm sure you're all, you probably thought about this discussion that whole time you were in Israel and England.
Oh, absolutely. That was paramount. I actually canceled a number of events so I could, think about this.
I bet. I bet. I'll give a brief introduction here about Ken, and then we will get into it. Ken is a certified professional behavior analyst, a strategist, communicator, and a marketer. He uses behavioral profiling assessment, DISC, as a tool for better recruitment, retention, and understanding of employees. This helps employees and owners communicate more effectively with other team members, as well to foster respect for one another and work together towards a shared outcome. In short, he loves to help businesses, business owners, their employees work together to create and nurture a company culture that allows everyone to look forward to going to work every day. And I love that. And you and I have met before, and we met through Samantha Leonard, who's actually been on this show. And, as we've talked about networking, how important that is, we met and had a coffee at Cadence here in Calgary. And, we both believe that, the networking, the face-to-face and the communication is so important. So when you do behavioral assessment, so please tell us about the process and why it is so important to have people assessed.
Well, I think the first point is that everybody has to understand that in the workplace, it's all relationship-based. You're in a relationship with everybody that you work with, and you may or may not like them, but it would be great if you understood what makes them tick. So behavioral profiling allows me to tell you, gives me the ability to tell you how you're going to behave. The joke is when people find out you're a profiler, the first thing they ask is, are you like the guys on Criminal Minds? and I go, I could only wish. But that's psychological profiling. What I do is behavioral profiling, which is how you're going to behave. So what you mentioned in the beginning, is it's about getting to a shared outcome with people, not just an outcome, but a shared outcome. If everybody gets on board and understands why we're trying to do something, from that, we can derive more positive communication. We can address their wants and needs and just make the workplace feel better and ultimately safe. Because the 3 things I try to promote is for employees, they need, like you said, they want to go to work and feel good. So every day they need a challenge. Every day they should feel like they made a difference, and they need to feel safe. And part of the safe is probably the hardest part because most people overlook that.
No, those are 3 valid points. And a lot of people don't talk about safe at work. I think that is something that, it's a discussion that is probably an episode on its own, especially in today's world.
Well, most people now, when they think of safe, they equate it to bullying.
Yeah.
Or harassment. The safe I'm talking about, and even when I'm not speaking, is I call it small C conflict should be acceptable in the workplace. And what I mean by that, and back to that shared outcome, let's agree to disagree, but let's have a discussion on it.
Yeah.
And if I can openly and honestly tell you what I believe, or if you're asked what you believe, that's safe. Safe is the ability to ask a question, possibly make a mistake. So it's not about giving them, hard coat shoes and a helmet. That's not safe.
Yeah.
It's about It all comes down to what relationships respect. Your opinion should be worth something. And if it's not, how do you ever feel safe?
No, no, absolutely. I mean, I always, when I work with my clients, I always have honest meetings with them and I encourage them to have it with their staff as well to make sure that there is a set time, maybe once a month to everybody to be open and honest and have their views heard. And I mean, it just creates a great culture because really, I mean, that kind of rolls into our next question. People are the heartbeat of every company. So, I mean, how do you work together to make sure they're all on the same page?
Well, let me just back up because I didn't quite answer your first question. The process to create a profile is when I'm engaged, and Jade, you did yours. If
Yeah.
you've been through the process, so you know.
Yeah.
It's a link is sent through an email. It's password protected. The candidate then opens it, and then all you're doing is you're showing 24 sets of words, and you have to prioritize them. From that, I'm able to produce a 23-page report, which is your behavior profile assessment. And Jade, you went through it, and I mean, they only take roughly 12, 15 minutes.
Yep.
You saw what was in it. It's 23 pages of incredible information. And if you're hiring, it gives you everything from the candidate's wants and needs, what's an ideal environment for them. And simply put, if you're shortlisting candidates, the profile should marry to the person you interviewed. Are they the same person? Because people often give some mistruths at an interview, but the profile will catch them on that. So that's the process to do a profile. And then
No, absolutely. I mean that's a great process, and it was bang on. Like I mean, you and I discussed it, and we went over it, and I love that fact too, where I thought, and not that I did, but I mean, I answered as honestly, as I thought, and I really couldn't believe how accurate it was. It was excellent, and I could see how that, how companies can use that to make sure that they do have the right hire and the right people in the right place.
So before we go on how do we use it in the office, if somebody tries to be dishonest on it or is under extreme stress when they're doing it, it will show that. And usually if that's the case, I would call the employer and say, we need to do Jades again. Something is going on. So it's that good. So if we want to do a team or an office or something, what I would do is get them each to do a profile. And then I would create a team profile. And then I like to do what I call lunch and learns or a team building session. And without getting into the great detail of that, the highlight moment is when we share everybody's profile. They all go up on a wall. I create a poster to leave behind, and you get that aha moment. And now I know why we don't get along. And it's really the start of the dialogue. It's understanding. For example, somebody is a high S in the profile. That means they're going to talk to you nonstop. They're going to give you the backstory on every detail, everything. And if you don't know that about them, you're just going to think they're chatty Cathy. The truth is they can't help them. So how do you harness that and understand it? Be respectful of that. Give them what they need so you get what you need. So
no, that's
them all on the same page.
No, for sure. And I mean, I guess that kind of, brings us into the culture type world of it. I mean, it is a buzzword. And I mean, if a company is really struggling with this, is it like when they do these steps, I mean, what's the process from there? Are you able to sit down and talk with them as a whole, or do you do it as an individual or with the manager and kind of help him through that process? What is your process?
All of those options are available. Depends what the employer is looking for. But I address culture a little bit differently because, as you said, there's a lot of buzzwords about vision, value, and mission, and so on. If I'm going to be engaged by a client, I'm going to ask them three things. What do you do? Why do you do it? And how do you do it? And the how is going to lead, and those three, especially the how, is going to lead to defining the culture. You'd be surprised, Jade. No, probably you wouldn't because you deal with small business. How many people can't articulate those three?
Really?
or can't articulate them, how do you expect your employees to do it? So that's how I define the culture. How do we do things around here? And then remember, back to the shared outcome, how do we get everybody on the same page? Because shared outcome is important in that if all you're looking for is an outcome, it's kind of top down. Shared outcome means at least you listen to me. I may not at the end get what I wanted, but I was heard. It's easier to buy in.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. It is so important. I guess, do you actually recommend, how small of a business can do this? I mean, is it, 1, 2 employees, or should it be, is there a certain number that you would recommend?
I've done as much as 200 and as little as 5.
Okay.
It depends what you're looking for. But it goes back to another point. I mean, most people start a business may think they know what they're doing. And the reality is, I mean, just because you're a great cook doesn't make you a great restaurant owner. So this is a tool. That's all it is. When you're hiring, you still go through the interview, the reference check, etc. It's a part of the process. I would never want to see anybody just get hired because of the results of their assessment. It's just a piece of it. So if you use it effectively, and back to small businesses, there are resources. There's people like you, people like me, there's people like my friend Samantha. If you ask and you get the help, use it. Because the one thing I found about small businesses, they all think they're unique. And I do work often in the dental industry, and I have to tell the practitioner, you're not unique. All dental practices have the same problems. But that's part of listening to resourceful people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. And I guess to kind of, spin things a little bit here, talking about uniqueness and how you're doing things differently. I mean, we've really focused this year, the 2019 calendar, on marketing and networking. And I mean, you and I have talked about this, and, even in the dental industry as well. So I guess, what are you doing to keep your business sustainable and, helping your clients, giving them some tips?
Well, on a personal note, I'm doing more of this. Letting people know I exist. I'm trying to be I tell people it saved me 35 years to be an overnight success. But it's this kind of marketing. It's doing exactly what we do. But with my clients, the first thing I try to get them to do is breathe. And I know that sounds funny, but let's break it down into the 3 things that we need to deal with. Money in, money out, and people. Like, let's keep it simple. How are we doing on the money side and then on the people side? So I'm encouraging them to not panic. If you're going to make some changes, and I'm going to talk on the people management side. Do we have to let people go? Do we have to hire? What do we have to do? Let's not just do knee-jerk. Let's look at the bigger picture. And also, let's do it with an eye to it is going to get better. Because the worst thing you can do is trim everything back and then have to recalibrate everything on the startup. So if we're going to get rid of people, or we're going to have to, let's do it smartly, effectively. The other question I'm not advocating always getting rid of people. Can we redeploy them? Well, if we've done through a profile, they're going to tell us skill sets. Because sometimes people get to take a position because they need the money or they think they want it, and then they're sort of stuck. But they'd be much better doing something else in the company. So that's what I'm encouraging all of my clients to take a breath, take a step back. Remember, what do we do, why do we do it, and how do we do it? And then take some pride in what we have. The sky's not falling. Let's be calm.
Yeah. All right, people, right role is so, so important. And as you say, it's, I call it the Kramer syndrome. Some people just get typecasted to this role, and they may not love it. And they're there because they don't think they have any other options. And I mean, but again, that comes with being open and honest and having some of these meetings and making sure that you can talk to your boss or small business owner, whoever it is, and say, listen, I want to do something else. I love my company, but I need to be elsewhere.
Well, the classic example is where there's a receptionist who's fantastic, brings in muffins, knows everybody's birthday, and so on. Company needs a new sales manager. She's been there the longest. Let's promote her. Thing about that is she's not going to say no, but she's going to be miserable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I agree. It is extremely important to have these discussions, and again, that's why we're kind of out here, and this is why I do the telling it like it is. So these small businesses have an outlet to maybe see something or reach out to you and say, hey, yeah, you know what, this is great. Maybe I can bring Ken in and help us out. So I guess that being said, what's next for you, Ken?
Well, I'm going to continue profiling, and I'm going to be a little bit garish here and make a plug. Um, the company that trained me and that I work with has introduced a new profile assessment. So all these years I've been doing the behavioral profiles under the name DISC.
Yeah.
And now I have a new tool called Driving Forces. So in lockstep, what like your profile, Jade, that we did, now I can tell you what drives you to be that profile. So we've just introduced that, and I think it's a really cool tool. And when done, it's about a 50-page report. So it's one thing to say, I think you were a high I, if I remember correctly.
I
Not
believe so.
saying why you're a high I. So that's that. There's my plug. That was it. We just introduced that. Going forward, I love profiling. I love doing what we're doing. I love talking about it. So I'm trying to do more talking. People are looking for speakers. Just go out because it's really about life. We're talking about communication. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about just understanding each other and valuing the differences, but being respect. And we need respect. We need civility. So profiling allows me to give people a tool to help them to do that. That said, if all you want to do is put it in a drawer and not use it, which does happen,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's your error, but so be it.
Yeah, there's no sense. I mean, that's just basically like setting up a meeting and wearing your headphones and not listening to the person. I don't get it. If you have a problem, hopefully that you'll listen to the person that is trying to help you.
That goes back to what we were talking about small businesses a
Yep.
couple of minutes ago. There are resources out there that genuinely have the expertise you don't have. I mean, I don't know anything about cooking, but I know how to do a balance sheet, for example, or set up costs and so on. So why not bring in somebody that at least can get you started? Somebody can set the cornerstones, because most businesses fail because they didn't do their homework. And the
No,
one
absolutely.
thing I encounter a lot is people fall in love with something, then they
No.
overpay, and then they're always behind the eight ball, so to speak. So do your homework. Talk to you. You've set up companies. Talk to a guy like me. Talk to anybody that has, I would call it the credentials, and use it effectively.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I find with some of these small business owners is that I tell them that you actually have to let go to grow, and it's very hard because they've already made a successful business, they have a good lifestyle, but sometimes if they want to get to that next level, they just need to let go.
Well, it's like, to that end, I mean, people can let go of control without letting go of power.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And people
No.
can't sometimes don't see that. I keep harping on the shared outcome. If you delegate properly, it works. It's when you don't delegate, or you delegate poorly, like the receptionist. No disrespect to receptionists, you've got problems.
No.
And the
I
thing
agree.
is, then what happens? You begin to cocoon, and again, back to my point about unique. I'm sure you've seen the same problems in many businesses that I've seen in many businesses I've done vis-a-vis the people. You're not unique. Ask for the help.
Yeah.
Get it, use it. Why not remove some of your stress?
Absolutely. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And, that being said, if you were to give one piece of advice to a small business, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, Ken, what would it be?
Ask good questions, get good help. Measure twice, cut once. Take your time, do the homework, make sure everything's in place before you launch. Then after you've launched, stick to the plan, because there's so many things that come at you that you didn't see. You forget why you started all this. Oh, kind of like a marriage.
Yeah. And everyone knows that takes work. So there's no doubt. There's no doubt there. It just doesn't happen on its own.
Remember, it's all relationship based.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about that today, Ken. I mean, your website is in the comment section. You can reach out to Ken on LinkedIn as well under Ken Goldstein. And I mean, and if anybody has any questions and they see this, we will answer them. So please, ask. I mean, again, as we said, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. So again, Ken, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Jade, it was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. All right. Next, I'd like to thank Healthy Heart Sleep Company for sponsoring this. They have 2 locations in Calgary. They are locally owned. They are Calgary's premier sleep apnea CPAP company. They sell accessories. And as I always say, support local. So again, thank you, Ken. I hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.